If you're like me, I really thought that whole press release from the developers of Shadowlands yesterday was kind of a letdown. I knew that I wanted a release date. I wanted a specific date for a lot of things. I wanted to know what they're doing with Covenants and Soulbinds and Legendaries, and I felt still a little left out. We got some cool stuff. But I feel like a lot more questions were raised than answered. And, hopefully we get answers to all those as the beta comes out, but I'm skeptical. I'm nervous, and I think a lot of the community is too. Let's talk about some of that stuff. What's up, everybody? I'm Jordan. If you know me through Twitch, you probably know me as I'm Jerman, and today we're going to talk a little bit about that press release, but we're also going to talk about game development and the outlook of Shadowlands and why gamers are bad game designers. I'm not one to shy away from poo-pooing on Blizzard and giving them a hard time when they deserve a hard time, but today, we as gamers are going to be in the crosshairs. In Shadowlands, WoW is going to attempt something novel and kind of scary, and then it's going to have 3 or 4 expansion mechanics that are all going to be raid and PvP and Mythic Plus relevant. With Covenants, Soulbinds, craftable legendary systems, all of the mission tables that are going to be there. Players are going to have a lot of options on how to customize their character and min-max them for raiding. Well, I guess that's the theory anyway, right? And that's going to be a lot of where the problem comes from. A lot of players feel like they're going to be pushed in to certain mechanics or certain covenants or certain soulbinds. While these covenants offer a really cool RP and aesthetic thing, these are going to be outshadowed by people that are trying to min-max their character. A very reasonable fear is that if a person doesn't take the best in slot covenant or best in slot soulbind or craft the best in slot legendary, they're not going to be able to raid or do dungeons, and that's a very realistic fear, and that's going to feel really, really bad, right? This is all before what happens if a covenant's nerfed into the ground or if a covenant gets buffed into oblivion. Switching's going to be hard, Blizzard says. And what about players that want to do Mythic Plus pushing and cutting edge raiding? What about people that like to dabble in PvP? What if you're a druid and want to tank, heal, and DPS? What if you are a melee shaman and you want to go to a caster shaman? I'm not sure why you'd want to be either of those, but there's psychos out there. There's a lot of questions that Blizzard needs to answer, and they need to do it before release, and hopefully we get these results in beta. That being said, I just did a little bit of the side A of the coin. Side B of the coin, though, is I think the community needs to decide what they want out of World of Warcraft. Do we want this evenly balanced min-max game where decisions are trivial, you just have to click buttons in the right order? Or do you want to feel like you're making an important RPG-based decision that's special, that has advantages and drawbacks? I heard a lot of discussion from some bigger streamers and YouTubers. I mean, everybody's bigger, so YouTubers and streamers, about they want this to feel special, but they also don't want it to trivialize other things. And I don't think that's possible. Take the WoW racial, for instance. WoW racials don't matter unless you're in the top 1%. Their DPS difference is nominal. They don't feel special either. Like, I don't feel like I'm a night elf and I have this big advantage as a night elf, because who cares? The troll hunter might do a little bit more DPS than me, but it's very negligible and it feels negligible in the decision that I made. The only reason that players can tell a difference is because the top 1%ers sim it and tell them there's a difference. And the only reason they care about anything that's a DPS difference is because the people that are doing cutting edge raiding and simming tell them to matter. And even then, for something as trivial as racials, they don't care at all, right? Even really your top 1% don't really care. I mean, they take it because it's there, but it's not going to make a difference between a world first race and not. So what WoW has to decide: do they want these covenants, or do they want that to feel like racials, or do they want them to feel like real decisions that the player has to make that could impact their game experience in a positive way and in a negative way? WoW's stated goal is that they want some covenants to feel good for some content and they want it to feel bad for some content, so that maybe you have to get switched out. Maybe, as a, hunter with a certain covenant, I'm really good for half the encounters in a raid, and then a hunter with another covenant is really good for the other half of the encounters in the raid. And that's the ideal. Now, whether Blizzard or not can achieve that goal, of course, is debatable, right? There's no doubt about it that Blizzard is sometimes questionable with, balance and game design, and it's difficult, and they fall short of their goals a lot of the time. But I don't think the community is taking them at face value when they say that that is the goal. Is there's going to be pros and cons, and this is an RPG after all, or at least it purports to be, and that's the objective. The reason that I'm nervous by the community making all of these accusations or making these statements against Blizzard, and I'm worried about Blizzard caving them, is that gamers, I was going to say games, then I was going to say game designers, but then I got stuck. Gamers are bad at game design, okay? Game designers also happen to be gamers sometimes, but not all gamers are game designers. It's like a rectangle square kind of thing. Gamers know what fun is, but they can't develop it. One of the biggest questions that they ask in an interview in game development, I've heard this from Luis Scott Vargas, a professional Magic player who also runs Direwolf Digital. He says, one of the questions we ask in an interview is, what is fun? And a game designer knows what fun is. Whereas a gamer knows if they're having it or not, but they can't create it. Where a game designer has to be able to take the abstract concept of fun and put it into something. And I fully realize that, it seems like I'm saying players shouldn't levy complaints to Blizzard or shouldn't make their voice heard, and that's not it at all. I'm just saying that maybe we should give the game designers a little bit of breathing room this early in an expansion cycle. Now, I say this early, it is coming out in at most 5 months, which is fast, but Blizzard has been receptive to valid concerns from the community before, and I assume they'll be receptive to valid community concerns going forward. I'm worried that the community will either A, continue to turn on Blizzard if they don't feel like their perception of game design is met. And I'm also worried that Blizzard is going to cave to demands from the community that aren't in the best interest of game design. I've read somewhere in regards to Path of Exile that if the players had their way, the game would actually be unplayable. And I believe that's true with a lot of different games, is people want their class to be good. They want the class that they don't like to be bad. And they want the things they find difficult to be easy. And that's okay, right? That would probably be fun in the short term. It'd be really fun to go out there and blast around. But I'm nervous that that ruins the long-term experience of a game. And I think we should leave that to game designers. And if they mess it up, we should absolutely keep coming back to them. BFA was a disaster early on. They implemented all of these, in my opinion, excellent changes late in the expansion. They did it way too late. But if what they've done here in the end of BFA is what they do at the beginning of Shadowlands, I think we're going to be set up okay. By all means, keep giving feedback. I hope you get into the beta, and if you do, fill out the reports, tell them how you feel so that they can take that into consideration. But understand that Blizzard's one of the best game companies in the world. I'm going to rely on their experience and how to make a game. And as we get more details about the Covenants and the Soulbinds, I hope that we're in a good place. Hey, pretty quick today, kind of just me rambling about game design and my concept of where WoW is going to be in Shadowlands. If you think I'm an idiot, tell me in the comments. Make sure you upvote and subscribe to the video while you do. If you want to talk about this more in real time or watch me kick around some Mythic Keys with friends, you can check me out on Twitch every Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday. There's a link to that down in the description below. I really hope to talk to you, and in the meantime, happy gaming.